What's up, Riot fam? Welcome back to another edition of the Riot Comedy Podcast presented by Ararat Water. Shout out to Ararat for keeping us hydrated. We got big news. Paul George signed with the Sixers. Where's Klay gonna go? Where's DeMar gonna go? Who's getting traded? LeBron's taking a pay cut. Let's get into it. So first up, Paul George signing with Philly. What does this do for the East? Is Philly a real contender? How does this shake things up?
It happened exactly how we thought it would happen. Sixers have unlimited money to spend, and they go get Paul George. No sign-in trades, no Buck Wild, nothing too Buck Wild. Yeah, I mean, of course, like you got to consider Philadelphia like a mild contender, like the mild form of contenders, where I guess anything can happen, and if somebody goes down. But as far as everybody, in my personal opinion, everybody playing basketball, roll the balls out. This puts Philly somewhere around the ranks of third to fifth best team in the East. In my personal opinion, that's where I said I think Boston and Knicks reign supreme, and I wouldn't be shocked to see the Sixers lose to Milwaukee, Miami in a playoff series. It just is what it is. We've seen Paul George and we've seen Joel Embiid in the playoffs, and we've never really seen him go too far. So I think if you add those two guys together, it could equal second round exit. So that's my opinion. That's my opinion on the Sixers. I could be wrong. They got Kelly Oubre back. Obviously, Maxey signs his extension. I'm a huge fan of Nick Nurse as a coach, but I just don't think that this is going to be enough to give them what they need. And sorry, Philly fans. I mean, what do you think?
I think it puts them ahead of the Knicks, but I wouldn't be surprised if these two faced off in the Eastern Conference playoffs and the Knicks beat them in like 6 games. But I think, and also this is a short window because Paul George is getting old. So I think this is going to be an interesting next, 2 years, and then after that, it's a wrap.
Yeah,
So if you can, to add a little, just a little bit more depth in Philly, I think you'd be in a real good spot and be a real contender at that point.
You have 1 year. That's it. They have 1 year. They have 1 year to get it done, in my personal opinion. Like Paul George, 34, maybe 2 years, but 1 year. But I'm not buying it. I just think the Knicks are better just because of they've played together for a while.
Chemistry, yeah.
Yeah, and like Philly, like you turn over your roster every other year, around Joel Embiid and being like, well, hopefully this is enough. So I don't know. Maxey and Joel Embiid definitely know each other decently well. I think that helps them, but yeah, I'm not buying it at all. I'm not buying that. I can't buy the Sixers yet. I could be wrong, but that's where I kind of leave my Sixers and my Sixers opinion.
At least it makes the East better as a conference, and the East is a little bit more fun now because
Correct.
Even going into next year, it looks like no one's going to be able to challenge Boston.
We'll see. Really hard to win back to back, so it's almost impossible.
Absolutely.
Like we thought the Nuggets, everybody was like, "Oh, the Nuggets can probably do it out in the second round." So it's got whooped. It's really hard to do. So I don't know. We'll see kind of where they fall at on the Eastern Conference. Like I said, Milwaukee's there, a lot of teams there, so I'm not surprised either way. We'll see if we get a return. If we get a return of playoff P, and he's out there fucking doinking shots left and right in the postseason, then they're fucked. And if Joel Embiid's knee is a little banged up, they're fucked. Like there's so many variables in there that I don't see as many variables for the Knicks. I know Jalen Brunson's going to ball out in the playoffs. I trust their wings. Losing their big man probably isn't ideal, but you still got Mitchell Robinson for them. So I like the Knicks. I like what they're doing over there. And then next kind of on the docket is for, what's going on with Klay? Where's he going? What's he doing?
I don't have a clue where Klay's going to end up. Hopefully the Lakers.
That's what I'm hoping for. Like that would I'm like stupid Lakers fan to an extent because I'm just like, well, maybe if they do these couple moves, they could win a championship when they're never going to win another championship with LeBron on there probably. But I'm like, dude, like if you get DeMar DeRozan, like you can trade away Austin Reeves and your first round picks and Rui and possibly get Trae Young, and then LeBron will sign for less money, and then we're gonna live in La La Land, and Trae's gonna make 6 threes a game. LeBron's gonna turn back the clock with DeMar, and AD's gonna be healthy, and we're gonna win. And it probably not. All those things would have to happen.
So what you're saying is, for the Lakers to win a championship, all they have to do is, in a few days, completely restructure their roster, give LeBron steroids, and hope AD doesn't get hurt.
Or possibly revive Albert Einstein and have him build a time machine and go back in time. That's their best fucking luck, because
that's the only way they're getting
that's it. That's all they got. So I don't. Yeah, the Lakers, even if they got Klay and then went and got Trae Young with LeBron and Trae and Klay and like have a new Splash Bros and shit, like something. But I don't think almost any of those things are going to happen. I think that LeBron's going to get a max deal, because I'm not going to say this is a for sure thing. DeMar's their best bet, because I don't think they're going to get Klay. I think Klay has to go to Dallas now, because they're going to overpay him from losing Derrick Jones Jr., from losing DJJ. Now that position's just a gaping hole for them, so they have to fill it with somebody. And they traded away Tim Hardaway Jr. for this exact reason, like free up some money, get some things worked out to where, like, if Klay has to get that $20 million, I think that they can. I think they can get him there. So they'll probably overpay for him. And then that's the Lakers' best bet, with the mid-level exception, is getting DeMar. Because LeBron's like, if LeBron says he's going to take a pay cut, you have to go get him somebody. It doesn't fucking matter who it is.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You have to go get him somebody. Like, Chris Paul's already gone, which you would have never given him the $13 million mid-level exception anyways. The Spurs paid him like at least.
Hey, that's great. I did not want to see Chris Paul on the Lakers.
I didn't either. I didn't want to see it either. So, but you got to get LeBron a guy that he wants in that mid-level exception. Otherwise, you look like assholes. So
the Lakers need some athletes, though. They need athletes that can play basketball, because as of right now, the only athlete they got who can run the floor and jump and be a real athlete is Rui, and that dude needs to go.
I think, Rui should probably go, because he doesn't know how to play basketball. But Jared Vanderbilt's an athlete too. He was just hurt last year. Jared Vanderbilt, he was just hurt last year. But I like what he's doing. But it was nice. Like, I'm not saying go get this guy. I'm not saying trade for anything. But they were like, whenever they had Lonnie Walker, like that type of player to run around out there. And the Lakers were talking about maybe trading for Brook Lopez. It's the exact fucking opposite of what they should do. It's the exact fucking opposite of what they should do.
Don't go get that guy.
No, he's just huge and makes threes. Like, it's not worth it. Trust me, it's not worth it. So I think that there's a chance the Lakers get absolutely no one.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then LeBron just gets the max deal, and they just roll out the same team they had last year. Because obviously they're going to trade D'Lo. There's some things there that they could possibly do to just barely enhance the roster, but I don't know if getting DeMar DeRozan is the answer to actually enhance the roster either. But he is still a walking bucket, like, no doubt about it. That dude's a walking bucket. And so the Lakers, if you're the Lakers, I guess, like, you're silver medal here. Like, you're like, oh, all right, you're not the fucking worst team in LA anymore. For sure, but not even close.
If you get DeMar, though, you still got to find someone who can shoot threes to add to your lineup.
Yeah, and I don't even think they should go get DeMar. I don't think they need just like another LeBron James, but worse. Like, I don't think that that's the type of player that you need. A guy that's going to take 5-6 dribbles and shoot from the mid range. Like, he'll probably fucking make it. And I'm not even knocking DeMar. I love DeMar's game. DeMar's a hooper. I
just don't think he's a good fit on the Lakers. Where do you see him ending up?
The Lakers. I see him ending up on the Lakers. That's where I see him going. I think LeBron will call him and talk him into it. He's been wanting to go back to LA for a while. He tried to in the past, and they went and got Russell Westbrook instead, which was just, we all know how that fucking turned out. So maybe the Lakers just get DeMar trying to right their wrongs and, turn back the clock a little bit. But yeah, I think he ends up on the Lakers. I don't know where else he would go. I'm trying to think of, like, maybe he ends up in Dallas if they miss out on Klay. Maybe that's an option for them. I think he's a great fit in Dallas.
Is it possible for him to end up on the Knicks?
Nah, they don't got shit left for money.
I was going to say they're probably out of money, but if they did, I think a guy like him on the Knicks would be awesome to have.
It would make a ton of sense. Him on Miami also makes a ton of sense.
He's a veteran, someone who can score. but doesn't have to always have the ball in his hand to be happy.
But DeMar would have to come off the bench probably for the Knicks. There's a chance
Yeah.
that he comes off the bench, and he ain't fucking doing it. I ain't fucking doing it. I just got done getting 22 and a half, dog. I'm out here. I'm
Yes,
fucking
I'm not
good.
coming
So
off
I
the
don't.
bench here.
So I think Dallas would make a ton of sense. I think Dallas makes
Dallas would be a
just so
great fit.
much
I would love
fucking
to see
sense.
him
I
in
think
Denver.
Miami makes sense. I also think that Orlando makes a little bit of sense, depending on if they would want to play a little bit small or not. I think that would make sense, but they probably don't. Getting KCP, I don't think they probably want DeMar. Houston would make sense too if if they could carve out a little bit of a starting spot, like a good veteran that can get some points, maybe get them into the playoffs. But as far as like DeMar DeRozan joining somebody where they're a contender, maybe Denver replace KCP with fucking DeMar DeRozan, and that could be even though he's not going to make his corner threes like KCP does, but there's a little bit of, but DeMar's game is weird. It's going to take a very
He's a
special team like.
good basketball player.
That's why he
And that's
makes sense
unique.
for sure. He makes sense on Dallas because Kyrie Irving and Luka can score anywhere on the court.
Yeah.
So it's not like you have to worry about floor spacing with them. DeMar can just chill.
Yeah.
When shot clock's got 5-6 seconds left, these guys are in trouble. Kick the ball out. DeMar does a couple dribbles, makes some moves, and fucking scores. So he
Yeah.
makes a ton of sense there. If I was them, I'd probably be trying to get him over Klay, possibly. Maybe, actually, probably not. Not with the driving kicks that Luka and Kyrie do, but
For me, if I need a
I
starter,
think DeMar
like
ends up on the Lakers.
Dallas, if I'm Dallas, I don't want Klay as my starter. Like Dallas is great, but if at this point in Klay's career, he's not. Klay at one point was an incredible defender, but now he's old. And when you're old, it's tough to play defense in the NBA whenever you're trying to guard dudes that are 19 to 25 years old who are way faster than you. Because once you lose a step in professional basketball, you lose one step, your defensive game is completely different now. So I don't know if I want Klay Thompson and Kyrie Irving being my perimeter defenders on a nightly basis.
I'd hate to tell you, but you probably don't have a choice because who are you going to start over Klay Thompson on the Dallas Mavericks? Who are you going to start over
I
Klay
feel you.
Thompson?
But you're gonna
You
be in
can't even name
trouble.
player. You you might not be able to name one player from their bench. No disrespect to those guys, but
No,
they
I
don't
feel you.
really have a bench.
Like Clay is your best option as a starting two guard for Dallas if he ends up there. But
Correct.
yeah, y'all gonna be in trouble playing good backcourts. Like a
And
lot of
I was curious to see your opinion on the Clippers situation. They're
it's funny
they're
that's my
they're,
the Dippers. You talking about the Dippers?
yeah, the Dippers.
The Dippers are done. It's over for them. They're back to being the Dippers. Paul George is gone. Unfortunately, Kawhi, as much as I love watching him hoop, he's always hurt. Um,
They were always the
James
Clippers, Ichi.
James Harden's a year older. Russ is a year older. So you got old Kawhi, old Harden, old Russ, and Paul George just left, and so your squad is just like a few old guys who we all loved watching play basketball 4 to 15 years ago for some of these guys.
Right.
So
Yeah.
the
It's
Clippers might is
I think they were always the Dippers. They never reverted back to the Dippers. They've always been the Dippers.
they were they've always been the Clippers.
They never actually fucking stood a chance, dog. They're like
They
fucking
did.
They're like Paul Walker and Fast and the Furious, dog. I almost had you. No, you didn't.
Real talk.
Never
Real
even
talk.
never even had your
Real talk.
fucking car, dude. Never even had your fucking car.
I've been telling people, even this Clippers team, even with their roster, like there was always he was like, oh yeah, I think the Clippers can do it. It's like no, like this. Don't forget, this is the same team that in 2020, yeah, I know, like it was the bubble, whatever you want to call it, but these fools still blew a 3-1 lead to the Nuggets when the Nuggets were kids.
Correct. And I mean, they're just like, I don't even know what the fuck they're doing. Like, what in your right mind tells you that, like, all right, we have Kawhi Leonard at this extension right now. And thank God he's playing in the Olympics. That should fare very well for him starting the season with the Clippers. So, and then you're like, fuck it, let's give James Harden 35 per. They went and got Derrick Jones Jr., which I like the pickup. They're going to trade Russ. But, like, you out here running a starting lineup possibly of, like, Norman Powell, Kawhi Leonard, DJJ. What's that big white boy's name that they got?
Zubats.
Yeah, Zubac, and then James Harden. Like, that's your starting five, which is like not fucking garbage. Like, I ain't sitting here being like they fucking suck, but like
Hey,
you missing the
6 years
playoffs.
ago, 6 years ago, these fools would be contenders. Like that's a serious squad, but it's not 6 years ago. It's
They're gonna
2024. We're
miss the
going
playoffs.
5. Hell yeah, they
They're
suck.
gonna miss the playoffs, dude. Like these guys are gonna miss the playoffs. Like, I don't see them doing anything of any kind of sus. Like they already out of draft picks. They lost all their draft picks for Paul George, and he's fucking gone. And then they gave up
What a
and then they gave up a little bit to get fucking James Harden. So like you have no draft picks. You're a 35 to 38 win basketball team now. So you don't get to pick in the top 10 pretty much no matter what. You're not going to get a good draft pick.
At
And
least they got the fans excited enough for a couple years to build a new stadium.
yeah, good for him. The fans, but here's the thing: is the fans could have not
Should have
enjoyed
built
it,
it
and
in
they
Seattle though. Should have built the stadium in Seattle instead of Inglewood.
well, they're still going to get a team here pretty in a couple of years. But yeah, man,
Yeah,
like
but
the Clippers,
when
like
the
when you
NBA
look at like
expands, it's bad. It's gonna be terrible.
we'll talk about that on another episode, but like when you look at the teams that crashed and burned the hardest this offseason, that like from the end of last year to right now, we're talking like fucking 3 weeks. These motherfuckers went from like middle of the road playoff team to out of the playoff. They're like the Warriors. I know the Warriors lost the play in last year, but like those two teams, like they bombed. They did as bad of a job as you can possibly do in free agency or with trades, moving pieces around and everything. Those two teams did as bad as you could possibly do. They are the two losers of the offseason with big giant fucking Fs. Big giant Fs. Actually, they're the second and third worst teams of the offseason. The Bulls are the worst team of the offseason because they are every year. No matter what happens, even if they do nothing, you're the worst fucking team. You're the worst fucking team at everything.
At least for the Warriors and the Clippers, they were in positions where they had success, especially the Warriors, obviously. And this is a position that's a tough position to be in because you're like, okay, I have all these dudes. I have Klay, I have Dre, I have Steph. Steph is still like a top tier player in the NBA. Klay is drastically declining. And so it's like, what do you do? Do I trade these guys? Do I try to leave them together and try to build something around them? Do I try to keep them on the team because they're legends here and they're statues?
I tell you what you don't fucking do is you don't fucking go in the middle. You don't fucking go in the middle. You don't keep some of them. You don't keep some of them and then lose others for nothing. You don't fucking do that. Yeah. You don't just be like, oh, just cruising along. Like, you just take, like, Draymond can't fucking score. I love Draymond's game, defensive player of the year, yaddy-doddy-doddy. At this point in his career, dog, he's more known for punching people in the face than being good at basketball, though. You give him $100 million. You take Andrew Wiggins, who never actually showed any desire to try as hard as he can at basketball. Give him $100 million. We saw how shit ended up with Pool Boy. Give him $100 million. And then you got to trade away draft picks to get rid of him. And now you can just let Klay walk for free. Of all the people that you let walk for fucking free, it's Klay Thompson.
I feel you, dog.
What are we doing? Like, worst. Terrible job. Like, if you were going to bust it all down a year and a half ago, you could have traded Klay and Dre and got some shit. And got some shit for these guys and actually possibly be able to rebuild a little bit.
You could already be a contender by now if you would have done it a couple years ago.
It was never going to be hard to get a superstar to come play with Steph. Of all the superstars out there, Steph Curry's one of the easiest fucking guys to pitch to go play with.
Absolutely.
So,
they blew their chance.
And you know what's interesting? The Warriors weren't even supposed to be a part of this podcast. I just thought of them, and I was like, these motherfuckers did a bad job. That's how bad of a job they did, is that they got airtime when they weren't supposed to. Clippers, bad job. Warriors. About bad jobs, dude. Bad job, guys. Like, I would get fucking, like, when I used to work at places, like, they would fire me for bad jobs like this. If I did this bad of a job doing anything, they would fucking fire me.
Hartenstein.
So.
Moving. What do you think of his new
destination? I love the move. You know, I brought him up on a different podcast, and a lot of things were pointing towards OKC, especially whenever the Knicks got Mikal Bridges. It was like, okay, if they don't ship out Julius Randle soon, to signify they have a little bit of money or going to spend money on Hartenstein, then he's going to go to OKC probably. They have some cap space and shit. I'm not sure about 29 per, basically 30 per for him. I'm not sure about it. It's a 3-year deal. If I had to guess, I don't know the details of it. Surely OKC built a buffer in that third year. That's a player option or something. Surely there's something built in there because that's a lot of fucking money for. Even though players are getting $60 million, 30 mil is a lot for this dude. But I love the move. They kind of had to overpay. They had to get a big guy next to Chet to protect him. Like Chet can't be out there playing bigs, like especially when you're going to end up having to play Joker and Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert combo and some of these other Anthony Davis, like these big dudes. Like you need a big dude out there who can bang a little bit. And I really like the pickup. I think they're still a move away, but I think they're a small move away. I think last year in the playoffs, they won in the first round of the playoffs. Got a little bit of got their feet underneath them a little bit for the playoffs. Now I think they'll be better next year. I like the addition, and I think that they just need to make one more move, like a solid move that doesn't even have to be amazing, and I think that they're right up there with the best teams in the West.
What do you think is a piece that they could add to be a true contender? Is there any piece available right now, or do they kind of like gotta wait? People start to talk about.
I think it's something. I think it's something you're gonna have to wait for. I think it's something you're going to have to wait a little bit for. And when I say a small piece, like I mean somebody like this, like Klay Thompson, but he's your bench player. Like a move like that. Now, Klay's not going to go there, come off the bench, but go get a guy that can like Kelly Oubre would have been a really good signing for them in the offseason to give him that microwave off the bench. Like I would have really liked that move. Now, he's still in Philly. Philly kept him. Great move. But like at the trade deadline, you go get you go try to get basically the best player available because I like them getting Caruso as well. I thought that was a huge fucking move. Their defense is going to be very, very, very good next year. Like very, very good. And you have Shea, that's a 31-point-a-night guy. So obviously that's all he scores is 31 exactly. It's fucking weird. But so I think that's what we're going to see. I think as long as they can go get a guy like that to come off their bench, I think that they'll be fine. They tried to do it with Gordon Hayward last year. Didn't work out. Super unfortunate. But this moves Chet down to the 4, his natural position. It gives them it gives them more strength. It gives them a little bit more fucking bravado whenever they get on the court, Like they needed a little bit of a guy that can go down there and get punched in the face and likes it a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Last thing we got to talk about, KCP. I love the move for Orlando.
Yes. But better than Klay. Move for sure.
Orlando, absolutely, because they need a guy who's still got legs under him. What does this mean for Denver? What do they like? They have to figure something out quick because they got
on the fly
last year, and now they are a little bit worse than they were last year. So they better. Their championship window is going to slam shut if they're not careful.
I don't see an avenue that they can take. Usually, whenever I look at these situations, it's like, okay, maybe you could do this, maybe you could do this. Here, this is their only options is develop internal talent. Like they know something that we don't, and they think that they have some young players that are ready to move up to the next role and step forward and take that KCP role over. That's option one. There's a rumor floating around that they want to get Russell Westbrook, which I'm actually not that mad about. I don't think Russ fits on very many teams, but if his job is to go in there and play 10, 12 minutes a night behind Jamal Murray and bring energy, I think that makes sense.
Yeah, same.
But like, the internal development is one option for them, and the only other option that they possibly have is to go into the war chest and whatever picks you got left, whatever young talent that entices people, and mix it with that Michael Porter Jr. contract. That's their only option at this point because they're so low on money and like ability to do things that they just gave DeAndre Jordan another contract, and he's not good enough to be in the league anymore. He's not.
No, it's not. No, those days are done.
They're done, actually. Up. They're fucked up, dude, because like they got bounced in the second round of the playoffs last year. Because I remember when the season started, I liked Denver, and I said, "Whoa, they lost Bruce Brown and Uncle Jeff both. That puts them at a disadvantage." Absolutely. Now you fucking lose KCP, and you haven't been able to replace any of these guys, and you just got bounced in the second round. So you went from being a champion to getting worse, getting bounced in the second round, and now you're in a fucking position of getting bounced in the first round now. Like, that's where they're possibly headed. And I don't see an avenue. Like, you hear about, like, the Sacramento Kings maybe getting Brandon Ingram, which I actually really like that move for them. Like, that puts them, like, right there with Denver. Like, honestly, like, you guys could possibly fucking lose to these guys in the playoffs. I don't think you would, but there's a fucking chance. So you
Yeah.
guys, they have a lot of things that they need to do, but they're not. I don't think the flexibility's there. I
Yeah.
don't. I think they're fucked.
This year is just like, damn, we got to try to figure out a way to get ready for the following year. They got to think about 2026. They can't even think about 2025 season.
Yeah, but when you have a player as good as Joker, you got to try to do whatever to win.
For sure, for sure.
But I look at guys like, okay, so maybe they do try to go get a Brandon Ingram and trade Michael Porter Jr. and some picks for him. Contracts match up decent enough. I think it would work a 1-for-1. I haven't put it into a trade machine because I don't have one or give a shit about trying it. But at the end of the day, like, that move might make sense. Like, you guys have become so low on offensive talent now that you guys have to go get a 3 option that can get their own bucket possibly. Like, that's the dire situation that they've put themselves in. Because you don't want to trade Aaron Gordon. He's the most valuable trade asset that you have, that you're willing to get rid of. But who the fuck can you replace him with? A guy that's 6'8", 6'9", can play decent defense, but jump out the gym and, like, him and Joker have an unstoppable play. Even
absolutely,
so,
absolutely.
There's not a lot that they can do. I think maybe if you're Denver, you're just happy you got one, and that's that. Sure. And that's that, dude. And that might just be that for them, dog. Like, all these talks of – because they still have time. Joker and Murray are young, but Joker is a big boy. And, so he's – we'll see how he ages. Murray's had some injuries in the past. He didn't look as good this year in the postseason as he had looked in the past, which I know he was dealing with injuries. But if this becomes a nagging issue – they're in even more trouble. So, like, they might have trouble layered up, and they're going to have a fucking goddamn souffle of trouble pretty soon because shit's fucked up down there, dog. Like, so I think that we're going to see them take a step back. The West is less good than it was last year, I think. I think the East and the West are about as good as, I think the conferences are pretty equal now, and I think that we're going to see how some things shake out. But last question, how much the Boston Celtics selling for?
They gotta go for somewhere between 3 and 4, right?
These motherfuckers, 5, 6, maybe
5 or 6.
I don't know, dude. But these motherfuckers said these owners won a championship and said they're for sale.
Yeah,
and they just signed Derek White. So, like, how many people?
You're never gonna sell it at a better time. I mean, you just won a championship and you're in position to win more. Like,
exactly. How many teams come up for sale where it's like you get to walk in with your dick in your hand and keep it there.
Yeah.
And just jack off all day while you watch this team win championships, dog. Like, that's a fucking super sweet thing to buy.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I'll tell you one thing, though. If I was like Musk or Bezos or Bernard Arnault or any of these guys who are worth like 80 billion plus, I got $5 billion on a team all day. If I had that kind of money, the first thing I would buy is an NBA team.
I buy any team that's for sale. All of them. I'll get me an MLS team. I don't even like fucking soccer. I'll get me an MLS team. I'll get me a WNBA team. I never watch it, but I buy one.
Soccer team would suck too bad. Everyone would hate me.
Fuck it.
I give me a basketball team.
I give me a baseball. I try to buy the Cardinals for sure.
I would definitely be doing that, especially right now.
I'd be trying to buy the Cardinals.
We
gotta get you guys good again.
Straight up.
I'm tired of fucking watching the Redbirds get their dicks kicked in. It's fucking super over. Anywho, speak of the devil, I didn't realize you were rocking it so heavy.
Yeah, I had to rock the Dizzy Dean throwback today.
Yeah, it's fire. Fire as fuck. Super fire.
Old school, yeah.
So I guess we'll just wait and see what happens with Klay. I think that does it for us. I'm just excited. I keep looking at my phone because I keep waiting to fucking see it.
Crazy stuff going on. We'll be back later this week for sure to catch up on everything.
I keep waiting to see if Klay gets traded. I'm like, please, somebody sign Klay Thompson already. I'm fucking super curious so we can watch DeMar go to the Lakers and everybody on social media talk about how the Lakers are fake contenders. Can't wait. Thank you for watching RiOT Comedy, fam. We greatly appreciate it. We'll be back, and I have something special for you guys on the next podcast. Check it out. I'm going to do a very, very special dunk for you guys. I know you guys don't think that I can dunk, but I dunk hard. So I got Money's Dunk of the Day coming for you guys next podcast. Get ready.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch y'all later.
Peace.